You see, we set the scene anew, and that's because it's now my pleasure to invite with me on stage Her Excellency Ambassador Simona-Mirela Miculescu, President of the 42nd session of the General Conference of UNESCO, for an opening exchange. Please join me. Is this one working? It is. So nice to have you on stage with me here and with all of us. I think this is yours. How are you?
I'm very excited because actually this was a fascinating day, and I would like to congratulate you for the elegant and impeccable stewardship of this event. But
thank you.
Wasn't it an absolutely intriguing and thought-provoking day? And the speakers were excellent, so I'm very excited intellectually and also from the human point of view, and happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. I have lots of questions, but let me start with the first one. This is now the 4th year that this declaration has been jointly launched by the 4 presidents of the different UN bodies. Could you briefly take us through the history of this statement?
Well, it's a pretty recent history because everything started with the initiative of the president of the UNESCO General Conference, my predecessor, the president of the 41 session of the General Conference, in 2022. So since then, every year, on the occasion of this celebration, because I call it celebration, not commemoration, we are joined by the respective presidents of the main UN bodies relevant to the topic of this celebration. And I'm very grateful that the current presidents, whom you can see in the video messages, you saw the president of the General Assembly, UN General Assembly, you will see the president of ECOSOC, and you also the president of the Human Rights Council soon. I'm very grateful for them because actually they concurred immediately because the message is very important and they were aware of it.
Mm-hmm. It's particularly close to the DNA of UNESCO, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely. Let's not forget that communication and information are actually part of the main components of the UNESCO mandate, besides culture, education, and science. And if you know, or if you remember, those who know, actually the first sentence of the UNESCO Constitution, and we love it because actually we celebrate this year 80 years since the UN and UNESCO were born.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all those who worked so hard in all these years, and especially, 8 years ago, it's so wonderful to be able to see in this context, to remind everybody that the founding members of the United Nations system actually created an international treaty that enshrined the equal rights for all and the maintenance and protection of the international peace and security. And those values are even more relevant today in this very complicated world. And going back to UNESCO, the first sentence in the Constitution of UNESCO says, and I quote, "Since wars begin in the minds of man, it is in the minds of man that the defenses of peace have to be constructed." This is what we are doing here today. This is what UNESCO does every day. And it is even more relevant if we actually think in the context of the main topic of today's event and, the evolution of the AI, to whom I must mention, again about UNESCO, issue to which UNESCO added a very important dimension, and I want to mention it here to remind everybody about this. A few years ago, all the member states adopted the first and still the only global tool on ethics in artificial intelligence. I wanted to mention this because we have to bear it in mind all the time.
And elaborate on it, I think, across the board. Now, the 4 presidents of the UN bodies have a unique role in protecting press freedom and information integrity. Could you elaborate a little on the importance of these bodies in that regard, especially, as you mentioned, and as we've been discussing all day, in this era where press freedom is increasingly under attack? How would you describe their role?
You know, actually, each body that is represented in this endeavor, common endeavor, has a specific role. We chose these bodies because they are very connected, very much connected through, of course, the human rights dimension, essentially, to this topic and to this reality. The UN General Assembly, I don't have to explain, right? ECOSOC, the UN's Economic and Social Council, also the Human Rights Council. Clearly, even their name, their titles speak a lot, volumes about their missions. Of course, UNESCO has a very relevant mission from this point of view, and actually, you know, the essence of UNESCO's mission is to encourage the flow of ideas by word or image, and to promote the freedom of expression, the diversity of expression. And we really, really have to avoid the homogenization of media. We are very, very afraid of that, and also of, you know, not being able to provide the diversity of expressions and all the freedoms that come within. So for us, it's a sacred issue, and that is why the President of the General Conference initiated this endeavor in order to spread this message of unity of all the UN relevant bodies to the topic of this day, unity in protecting these basic freedoms, and in supporting journalists worldwide, their access to information, their safety, and the information integrity, especially in the era of the artificial intelligence.
I think all the journalists in the room and many outside thank you and your colleagues in these UN bodies for that. Madam Miculescu, I have to thank you for your contribution and for being here with us and sharing your passion on this topic. It's very important. Thank you so much.
It is impossible not to be passionate about this because we are very perfectly aware of the crucial issue that we're talking about.
Thank you so much.